Carlos Sainz has opened up on the painful departure from Ferrari, as it looked like the Spaniard, while taking a strong stance, has been hurt by the move of the team that signed the 7-time world champion Hamilton as his replacement. Obviously, many would go for this move and wouldn't even consider thinking about it, but nevertheless, Sainz has a long-term option to complete a revenge on Ferrari under the new regulations and prove that they made the wrong decision by signing Hamilton. With all this in mind, did Ferrari do what they were supposed to do, and why are they so heavily criticised for breaking the duo of drivers that brought them to this point of fighting for the championship? It's safe to say that one of the biggest bombshells in the world of Formula 1 was dropped by Lewis Hamilton when he decided to join Ferrari, but as you already know, 3 doesn't fit into 2, and obviously that makes it very difficult for Sainz, who was the weak link compared to Leclerc and the performance in Ferrari. Even though the Spaniard started to make a case for himself from the first race in 2024, as he knew he won't be part of Ferrari anymore, he also understood that there aren't many teams who are willing to take him under the circumstances that he wanted, with Mercedes probably being the most competitive option, but maybe just for a couple of years. When talking about the move from Ferrari, Sainz initially said that he understood it fully and there were no hard feelings about it. However, he was not prepared for it to happen so fast, and that left some scars on his mental health. Elaborating further on this, the 4-time race winner said, "I think at the beginning of the year I was tested more than I've ever been tested before, and life put me in a situation that was not comfortable at all. I was told that I was not going to continue with the team that I was 99% sure I was going to continue with going into that winter. It was a massive shock to my hopes, and I obviously didn't enjoy that moment. I still trained and I still prepared for that season, targeting to be ready to win races, to win a championship if the opportunity presented itself. I went into that year still full of energy, but obviously with this uncomfortable situation and with the uncomfortable moment, it was ruined for me." If you recall correctly, Sainz was always adamant about one thing. He always wanted to start the season knowing where he'll drive in the upcoming one. So he kind of put a lot of pressure on Ferrari to make sure that his contract would be fixed beyond 2024. However, when the opportunity presented itself to sign Hamilton from 2025 onwards, it's something that is very hard to miss. And even Carlos himself said that he understands how big of a driver it is coming into the team. Still, he cannot act like he was not hurt by the actions of Ferrari. Whether we like him or not, he has been a pivotal part of the journey of Ferrari, and to see them fight for championships now without him, while he will be joining a project team in Williams who are going to focus on 2026 rather than 2025 because of all the crashes that took a massive dig to their pockets, it's something you wouldn't wish on your worst nemesis. Yeah, Sainz had his own selfish moments, but we've seen him calling his own tactics in races like Silverstone and Monaco in 2022, and in 2024's Singapore GP, he called for a pit stop for multiple races before he was finally called by the team. This goes to show that he has high on-track IQ and can judge things that not many other drivers can, with Russell and Verstappen being some of the most praised ones when it comes to this characteristic. That is why it is very painful for Sainz to be dropped in the way that he was by Ferrari, and when talking about it to a greater extent, the Spaniard continued, "I remember being very emotional on that Australian Grand Prix podium because there was my dad there, there was obviously my manager, my girlfriend, everyone who's been next to me. I was obviously thinking about my mum. They've all seen me suffer during the winter. When I say suffer, I don't mean I was crying behind closed doors, but I was actually hurt. I was hurt because I didn't expect it. I was not prepared for that kind of news. I was in a bit of a shock for a while. I remember after Australia thinking how lucky I am to have the people I have around me, supporting me and giving me that inner strength to overcome what was a tough moment. Now, when I look back at it, I'm almost happy, proud that it happened because it made me a much better driver and a much better athlete in general." But see Ferrari prepare a special test for Sainz in their own track in Fiorano, where he and his father drove the F175, goes to show that the team has high regard for him and are very grateful for everything he has done in the past couple of years to bring the team to where they are right now. Of course, it's always painful to part ways in this fashion because in McLaren the situation was very different, as the team wasn't in contention to win races and many doubted his move to Ferrari because the Maranello team was in a downfall downfall back then, and to see them now so close to the Constructors' Championship and Sainz not being part of the team in 2025 is definitely leaving some marks on his confidence as a driver. But there have been many F1 experts and former drivers who raised their own concerns as to whether or not the team did the right thing to replace Sainz with Hamilton because of the age of the 7-time world champion and the fact that he might be coming into the Maranello team to retire on a high note and not win races. Hamilton hinted that he will stay in Formula 1 longer than Alonso, who is already 4 years older than him, but that doesn't mean that all of these years will be spent in Ferrari. There have been some high critics as to whether or not Hamilton has what it takes in order to give the proper feedback to the engineers in Maranello to build a car that would fit his driving style. This has been emphasised a lot by Ralf Schumacher, a former F1 driver and the brother of Michael, as well as Felipe Massa, who also stated that Hamilton should be worried about his age because at this stage it takes a lot longer to recover from certain injuries or to be the best version of you. The man who you'd want to beat first is your teammate, and that is going to be a very hard mission now that you have the pillar of the Ferrari project, Leclerc, right next to you. When talking about this, Felipe Massa said, "If you ask me if I would hire Hamilton as the head of Ferrari as a driver, yes, I would, without a doubt, because of the talent he has. He is one of the most incredible drivers in Formula 1, but because of his age, maybe not. Because of his age, if you look at the sport, age matters, and we have to understand how much age is weighing on him in this situation or not. I'm talking about myself. These days, I need to train much more physically than I used to. It's much harder to recover physically after a difficult race or an intense training session. Age takes its toll in some areas. That is normal. Age is something that has weighed negatively on several drivers, as it did for Schumacher. There are others, however, who feel like Hamilton is coming here to win races and to win the championship, and the upper hand that Leclerc has been given is going to be wiped by the experience that Hamilton has." One of these experts and former F1 drivers is Juan Pablo Montoya, who went on to say, "Lewis is mature enough to appreciate that in the short term he is going to struggle a little bit learning the Ferrari thing. Shah is going to feel like he's got the upper hand, but give it about 6 or 7 races, and if the car is competitive, Lewis is going to win everything." As for Sainz, while it looks like a far-fetched scenario right now, Williams have the right mindset and facilities to work wonders in the foreseeable future, especially with Sainz bringing along a massive financial partner, Santander. The partnership that was broken with Ferrari will continue with Williams, which goes to show that the Spanish bank truly believes in the capabilities of Sainz to turn things around for a team that is fighting for scrap points as we speak. With all this in mind, who do you think will prevail in one of the greatest battles that Ferrari might ever experience? And furthermore, do you think that Hamilton will retire on a defeating note if Leclerc shows what he's truly made of, proving that age and condition does truly matter in this sport? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're interested in Colapinto's future with Alpine, make sure to check out the video that's appearing on your screen right now.